Hey everybody, I have a very special Beatles finds, although this was given to me, so I guess it's a Beatles gift to me. I have two things, and they're both really cool, but the first thing is something I never thought I would ever have in my possession, and here it is. It's a Let It Be box. Um, the original, and this one happens to be a Canadian Let It Be box. So fit to be tie-dyed. Uh, this is directly aimed at you. I wonder. I'm sure you probably have this. Um, so my friend Casey, who owns a record shop in Thousand Oaks, California, called Record Outlet. If you're ever out here, you should check it out because it's one of the best record stores I've ever been to. And it's not just because he's my friend. It really is a really fantastic record store. Anyway, he came into a collection of records and got a Let It Be box in that set, and it's in mint condition. Um, so he decided to give me his old box, which is this box, and this happens to be a Canadian version of the Let It Be box, and it's not in the best shape, granted, but the fact that I have it at all blows me away. The box is actually in okay shape. This actual sleeve part here. There's the back information there, and it says distributed by Canada by Capitol Records, and it's got a bunch of other things down here. Litho in Canada, it says right there, and then right here it says designed by John Kosh, photographs by Ethan A. Russell, or Ethan Russell as we know him. And I will show you the contents of this box, and I will do it very carefully because it's not in the most tip-top shape. Let's put it that way. So slide this cover off. I'll show you what we got. There is the slip over cover. And so for those of you who don't know, these were the originally released. The box edition was originally only released in I think just in Europe, so in UK, and then I guess also in Canada. So because in America you just got a gatefold Let It Be album, so you couldn't get the box unless it was an import. And I actually read online that a lot of people did get the import, but it was like super expensive for the time. I think it was like $10 when really albums were I think like $4 or $5. Maybe it was like double the price, which is kind of crazy. So anyway, these are the boxes. That's the slip-on cover. Put it right there. Then I will be really delicate with this. Here's how it came like this, right? So you get this box with these flaps, and this is like the most delicate part of the whole thing. This one is intact, which is amazing because I've seen a lot of them that are just they're in like 4 different pieces. So I'm gonna be real careful with this. So you get the actual record in here, and I don't know if you can see this. Maybe you can. I'll try to do the best I can here without hurting the box. So you get the flaps. Take the record out. And inside, below the record, is the Let It Be, or the Get Back, as this one's called, book, which I'll take out in a second. But first, I'll show you the record. And actually, oh my gosh, I thought that was just about to fall, and I almost lost my mind. Anyway, we're all good. Here's the record, and this is actually in pretty bad shape. This is the worst of everything in the box. This is in the worst shape of all of it, but that's okay because I have enough pressings to Let It Be by this point. This is a Canadian pressing of Let It Be. There's the front. There's the back, and you get the green apple instead of the red apple, which the American version had the red apple. And then here, the actual record's not in terrible shape, but there is the Canadian Let It Be, and you can tell the Apple label's a little bit different, at least to my eyes, and the text is a little bit different too. And then here is side B. Something. Here we go. A little bit of dust. And I haven't listened to this yet, and and I haven't had a chance to clean it yet either, the vinyl. So there you go. But when I do, I'm sure it'll sound pretty good. I've never actually heard of Canadian pressing of Let It Be. So those of you who have Canadian pressings of Let It Be, you'll have to let me know if you prefer it over the British or the American versions. Okay, so that's the vinyl. Now, for the second most delicate thing in this box. So like I said, the most delicate thing is this actual like tray here. And then the second is this book. And I'm going to put it over here so I can take it out with destroying it. Now the book, it's in pretty good shape considering what we have here. It's kind of intact. Some of the pages are falling out or have fallen out, but they're all here. I make sure to check. You see the cover's got a little bit of a fold over here, but that's all right. I don't mind. And my phone is buzzing. And it's one of you. Someone just left me a comment on my Let It Be versus Let It Be Naked video. And they said something, I guess it's, what is his name? Godric Zimmerman said, one thing I like a lot about Let It Be Naked was the, and then I can't read the rest because it's just a preview. So I'll check out your comments soon, but let me get back to this video here. So here's the book. And actually, my friend Casey told me this was his box. This book actually isn't an original Canadian version of the book. This is the British version of the book that he just put in this box. So it's kind of like a Frankenstein version of the Let It Be box. But for all I know and what he said he knows, they're all the same, really. I think maybe the Canadian one has like an extra bit of like publishing information on the inside cover or something. But anyway, I'm happy to have this. I've seen the books alone go online for like $400 to $500, and the actual box together for like $700 to $1,000, which is insane money in my opinion. And also, in my opinion, it's really cool to have this, and I think it's amazing. But the reason I didn't have it before is because I never thought it was worth it to spend all that money for just a box. And all you're really getting is the box and the book, because you can get the album, very easily. So anyway, back to this. Cool thing about the book is it says The Beatles Get Back. I'm sure a lot of you know that was originally the title of this of the Let It Be album was going to be called Get Back. So it's funny they have that written on here. Now the book, I will try to show you some of these pages, but like I said, it's very, very delicate. You have to like hold it by the spine to make sure that glue doesn't come loose. So the pictures are really amazing. The book is totally worth it. I have to say that. There's so many photos I've never seen, and it's just a really cool book. The problem is they designed it so crappily. It's so cheaply made. What they did was they took all these pages, put them in this book. Actually, I can probably show you because it's already like all jacked up. And they just put one strip of glue here and then smushed this cover on here and hoped everything would just stay in place. Well, of course, actually what I've read online, a lot of people who bought it, within like a couple of months, the pages were falling out. So the fact that this one is still intact after 40 years or almost 50 years, it is pretty amazing. But the book is really, really cool. If you ever get a chance to even just, if someone else has it in their collection and they trust you with holding the spine and looking through it, it is worth looking at all the photos because there are some really, really, really great photos and cool dialogue from the Let It Be movie. But I think the dialogue, you can get also all the dialogue in the Let It Be Naked booklet or that comes with the vinyl or the CD. It's all the same dialogue, but the photos are just really cool. And it's a shame that in Let It Be Naked they didn't have a book like this with all these photos, because you really do get a lot of photos that you don't see all the time. And with Beatle photos, it's kind of, it's cool to see photos you haven't seen because there's so many of the same photos shown over and over and over again. These are like my favorite, I think, when they're at Twickenham. I don't know how you say that word, but anyway, the first place they went to do the Let It Be rehearsals Um, I love those photos. You can see all their gear, all their Fender amps. Uh, just really cool. So that is the Let It Be box, and mine is a British Canadian or Canadian British Frankenstein put together. And here is this flimsy box here, as you can see. It's kind of in two parts, so like I'm not going to take it apart because it freaks me out. But these, like this part with this flap and this flap, goes underneath. That's one part, and then the actual box in here, which is this thing, has kind of like an X thing going on. That's another piece as well. And yeah, I'm really happy to have this. It, like I said, it blows my mind that I now have one of these. I will say, and like I've read, like most people have written about their boxes, they are too afraid to ever take it out of the box and really enjoy it. And I totally understand that. I used to read about that and go like, well, what? Take it out and enjoy it. What? That's what it's for. But I understand now completely, because once you hold one of these in your hand, you realize how brittle everything is and how easily the pages fall out and the box can just like completely just crumble in your hands. And it's a scary thing. And I also read online, and I think this might be true. A lot of people had theories about this box. I'm like, why is it so cheap? Why is it so cheaply made? One theory is that Alan Klein, who was their at the time manager, but he wasn't Paul's manager, and maybe you know the story about Alan Klein. Anyway, he was working for the Beatles as their manager, and he was around for the Let It Be packaging, and he was known as a big cheapskate. So there's a theory that he just wanted it to be made as cheaply as possible, but appear to be a really fantastic product. So my computer fell asleep, so I got to do that. That's one theory. The other theory, which I believe, is that it was released in this box with the intention that you would take the book out, take the album out, and then throw the rest away. It was just packaging, and I kind of believe that to be true, because it kind of makes sense. Like the book is what you want, and the album's what you want. And back in those days, collecting, it wasn't such a big thing. People didn't keep things in the shrink wrap. People didn't keep things in minty condition because it didn't matter. You wanted to listen to the record. That was what mattered, or look at the pictures, you know. So you would throw this away because what's the point of this back in 1969, you know? That's a theory that I actually do believe because it kind of makes sense. In fact, like if I go and buy I don't know, I haven't done this in a while, but if I go and buy a new band's album, like a CD or maybe even a vinyl record, if it comes with like extra packaging, like hype stickers or whatever, I almost always throw them away because I don't really care all that much about, I don't know, all those every little detail. But a band like the Beatles, obviously, I do care about every little detail, and I keep every single thing. Like when I got the new Beatles One, the remixes album, I kept every single thing. I kept the shrink wrap and the hype sticker. I made sure to like take it off so it was all intact because I wanted to keep that. So I do think the theory that when it was released in '69, all this extra stuff, packaging, was just meant to be thrown away. And so, which is why it's so flimsy and whatever. So finding a box that's intact, it's hard to do. And if you find it and it's for an okay price, I highly recommend it because it really is really cool. In fact, I think this is probably the number 2 item that's like the most desired item among record collectors in the Beatles collection. Obviously I think number 1 is to get a Butcher cover, an original Butcher cover. That's like the holy grail, obviously, of record collecting. And I don't have one of those, but maybe someday I will. And I think number 2 is probably the Let It Be box set. So there you go. I'm going to try to put this back together. In fact, I'll do it on camera so you can see the horror in my eyes as I try to do this without destroying it. And maybe I will live on camera. Well, it's not live, but when you see it. So my theory is I put this box in my lap, and I put the slip cover over, and I line it up. As you can see, I'm doing like this. And I kind of cradle it in slowly so nothing catches. Then these flaps are the worst. You got to hold them down with your thumbs while this slides, oh, that was the best time I've ever done it. It's never been that smooth. Then you kind of just bring it in, and there's the box. And even though it's all still intact in the box, I still hold it as if this is my firstborn child because it is so flimsy. I can't even tell you. Anyway, that's the Let It Be box. I can't believe it. Anyway, there it is. Okay. I didn't even kiss it with my actual hand because I don't want the moisture to get on there. And I'm not this finicky with my records. I'm telling you. I am not at all. I like to keep the vinyl, obviously, in great shape so it sounds great. And I obviously don't, I'm not bending things and I'm not trying to cause problems on records, but I don't handle things like it's a museum piece. But with that, you have to. Okay. Now, this is actually truly a Beatle find, also at Record Outlet, and probably a part of the same collection that my friend Casey got his version of the box. This bootleg was in there, and it's called Get Back. And unfortunately, it's got someone decided to, because originally when these were released, you just got this sheet of paper and the white, I guess you call it sleeve or whatever, and it wasn't glued. But someone decided to glue it, and the glue mark went through the paper, but that's okay. So this is Get Back, and it's on Lemon Records. And this is a pretty famous bootleg for those of you who are interested in bootlegs. I think this was like the second one that ever came out. I think the original one was, I think it was called Comeback, or Get Back to Toronto was another name for it. But this was the second one that came out. And this is, I think, my favorite one. The sound quality is pretty good on this. And other than the very first song, which is, when I put it on, I was a little bit like, oh God, what is this going to sound like? So the one after 909 on here, it's slow. The speed is slow. It's a little bit slow, so their voices sound really low. But it's really a short version of one after 909. So after that, everything sounds good in perfect time. So I was happy with this record, and I really enjoyed listening to it. I listened to this yesterday, and like I said, the sound quality is really good. Every version of the songs on here are all different versions that you can't get on, Anthology or Let It Be or Let It Be Naked. They're all unique versions, and I'll show you what the vinyl looks like. Here we go. Side 1, it's got the Lemon Records yellow label. Side 2 looks the exact same. And this record's in perfect condition. I think Casey was saying the guy that this collection that he bought, almost all the records, none of them were played. A lot of them were in the shrink wrap. Joe, I know you would love that. So this guy was literally just a collector. It seems like he didn't really even listen to his record collection, which, I don't know, I guess I have a little bit of an issue with that. 'Cause for me personally, you buy them to listen to them. But if you just like to collect them, that's cool too. So I've heard there are alternate versions of this bootleg with the same picture and almost the same listing, but there are ones that don't have Across the Universe, which is on side 2. They don't have it on the actual vinyl. Mine does have it. It's on there. So I don't really know how you would get different versions of bootlegs, but that exists apparently. So there is a Get Back bootleg for those of you who are into bootlegs, and I'm one of those. You probably are too. So anyway, those are my latest Beatle finds, and hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have a Let It Be box, and if you have any more information on this Canadian version of the box. I'd be very interested to know what you think. And that's it for now. So, we'll talk to you later. I will slowly and carefully zoom in with this Let It Be box. We'll zoom in on Ringo because he doesn't get enough love. See you next time.